Hey everyone, welcome to another video. So today's going to be a little bit different. It's not just a scroll saw video. Today I want to demonstrate making a tool holder like this for the French cleat system that I put in. Some of you have seen this in some of my previous videos or in some of my posts on social media, but today I'm going to walk you through using the scroll saw, the router, and a couple of different tools to make this thing come to life. Thanks, hope you enjoy. So here's a shot of the first project that I made for the French cleats. The other things that I had made previously were some tool holders and different things that I had done in the past that were anchored to the walls, the concrete block or the studs, and I just threw a cleat on the back and hung them. But I thought this would be a fun, quick project, and I made a cup holder and snack holder that I can move anywhere in the shop. I posted this in a couple of Facebook groups that I'm in, and it got a pretty good response, so I thought you guys might like to see it as well. I've also got a couple of quick clips here of the process of making the layout tools tool holder. I laid them out on a piece of scrap plywood that I had and traced out the placement that I thought would be nice, and then cut it out on the scroll saw, stacked it together. You can see here they fit, and then here's a quick clip of the finished product. Alright, I'm not going to make you watch the entire process of me cutting this out on the scroll saw, but you can clearly tell that I used a spiral blade here. I honestly don't remember what size spiral blade this was. I had a stack of them loose, and so I was just using these. Of course, drilled the holes first, and then cut these out. There are several different ways you could do something like this. You could do it with a jigsaw. You could do it with a like a roto zip tool. You could do it with a router. I use the scroll saw because that's just kind of what I do more than just about anything. If you're going to do it on the scroll saw on a piece this large, you're going to need either a very big scroll saw. This is a 22-inch throat, and I wouldn't have been able to do this with a flat blade. So I used a spiral blade. The spiral blades, of course, cut in all directions, so you can manipulate the board or the workpiece in any direction that you want. I ended up first trying to cut out some thumb holes here to remove the tools. You don't really see it in this clip. I did it later, but to make them more uniform, I ended up switching to the plunge router. So here I'm using my Bosch 1617 EVS router with the plunge base on it, and I think this is a 3/4 inch straight router bit. I'd really wish I had a 1-inch router bit, but I don't. I think using a 1-inch bit would have given me the hand holes, or the thumb holes rather, on the tools in a good size. I tried cutting them on the scroll saw. You can see some of them here, but they're not really uniform. I should have probably laid it out with like a compass or something, but I ended up just going back over them and using the router bit. Now, I will tell you that I am in love with this router. I think if you're a hobbyist like me, I do a lot of DIY and a variety of projects. I don't think you can beat the Bosch 1617 EVS kit. I think it was like $150 or $180 on sale pretty frequently, and it comes with the 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch collet. It comes with the plunge base and the fixed base, and it's variable speed. It's so smooth. It's a very nice tool. Here I'm using the really inexpensive Harbor Freight oscillating multi-tool. This is the one that you can get for, I think, $20 most of the time, and it's one that they do, I think, for either $5 or free with a certain amount of purchase periodically. But I keep this one in the wood shop primarily for use with the sander, occasionally with the multi-tool cutting blades. But it's nice for something like this where you need to get inside some of these small areas. You could have done it with a oscillating spindle sander, either a bench mounted, floor mounted, or handheld one. I thought about trying my pneumatic band file too, but I don't have enough compressed air to run that in my wood shop. I have a larger compressor in the garage. I think they make an electric one too, and that could be worth a shot. But really the goal was just to kind of smooth out the imperfections that came from cutting it with a spiral blade on the scroll saw. So here I used glue and the pin nailer to affix the cutout piece on top of the backer board. I really, really like this pin nailer. It's the Banks pin nailer from Harbor Freight. It was pretty inexpensive, and I've used a variety of different length pin nails with it. It's pretty quiet, and it just works. I've never had an issue with the jam or anything like that. I use it in a lot of projects. And I'm a really big fan of the smallest Fortress air compressor that they started selling, I think, in the last year or so at Harbor Freight. Again, it's extremely quiet. I use it for airbrushes and some light-duty nailing and the blowgun and things like that in the wood shop. And it's just I think it's the perfect air compressor for a wood shop. Here we're using the Bosch router again, this time with a bearing flush cut bit. That I like to use this a lot whenever I'm routing with patterns or trying to trim something up. In this case, we're using the outside square edges of the top portion of the tool holder as the pattern and just kind of slowly following around to get it all trimmed up. Now we're going to take the back of the cleat here. I already cut this one down to size, and again I'm going to glue it up and then use the pin nails to hold it in place. Alright, and then a couple of tips for this spot. You need to pre-drill whatever you're going to use for the holders to keep the tools in place. I used some strips of mahogany that I had left. I think some of these are going to break because they're thin and the grain isn't really strong in this direction. But drill a hole that's going to be a clearance hole, so it's going to be larger than whatever screw you're going to use to hold it in place. And then I used Kreg screws, but I think any flat bearing surface cabinet screw type screw will do fine here. The important thing is you want the tool holder, the keeper, to be able to spin freely underneath it, and you don't want to have like a bugle head drywall screw or something like that that's going to spread load out on top of it. And here's the finished product. I went ahead and like to brush it off with the bench brush here. You can see how all the pieces are going to hold in just fine if I can brush them this way. This is nice too. I mean, this tool holder is illustrative of the whole reason that I did French cleats in the first place. I wanted to be able to hang the tool holders where I want them when I need them. And this is fairly close to my workbench, but I may move the workbench at some point, and now I can just take this holder and move it somewhere else.